Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech Cave. My name is RJ, and if you're like me, like flight simulators, and you've been looking at scenery, you've probably, like myself, wanted to create something yourself, and gone through God knows how many forums, and just found it all a bit bewildering really on how to create stuff and how to customize it. So yes, it is really difficult. Well, no, it's not really difficult. There's just really strange ways that Microsoft originally set up a file structure system, and you kind of need to get your head around it. Anyway, so I am going to try and go through with you guys now the simplest way to add objects to just make your scenery just look that bit a little bit nicer, add extra bits to it. This is my local airport, and I've added some grass, I've added trees, I've put in extra buildings all around here. I struggle to make my own models. I'm not a huge technical buff on how to create things, but just wanted to make it look pretty, and thought that there should be a fairly simple way of just dropping these things in. And there is, you used to be able to do it in FSX. I can't remember how, some videos and people just dropping objects in there. Anyway, in P3D, this is now version 4, it's a thing called simdirector that you can add objects in. Now it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be to make up sort of scenarios for people to kind of fly around things. Let's just move around a little bit here just so you can see what I'm talking about whilst I'm yakking away too. But what you can do is that you can take default objects and just place them around. So I put a load of grass around here. Let's just take off, and all these trees, these are sort of more 3D trees there from Orbex. Now I'll show you that if you go to Orbex, they allow you to download a free library with thousands and thousands of handmade objects. So I haven't made any of these objects, these are all sort of freebies. There's a few things I need to sort out, obviously you can see there. Let's just pause it there. So I've added some houses at the end. I've started putting some fencing around. All these trees here are placed on the photoreal scenery. Although I might do these by autogen and place those by autogen, but I wanted to go around the sort of local area and just put in the odd sort of farmhouse and things just as you're taking off, to just give it a little bit more of that 3D feel until you get up to, you know, 1500 or 2000 sort of feet, and then it doesn't really matter that much. You know, you're looking pretty much straight down on most things. But there you go. Lower down, you can see the trees that I've added there. So all these trees that you can see, the ones in the far distance, they're sort of autogen trees, but all these ones here, none of these were here before. So I've added all these in, gone round, and just dotted them in where you can see them on the photoreal scenery. I'm not going to go into how to make photoreal scenery. There's plenty of videos on the internet about how to do that, and it's reasonably easy to do. And I've also gone and changed the airfield strip as well. I did have one that I bought from UK 2000. So that was the UK 2000. There's some of their models in there, and I've stripped out some of the stuff as well. But I'm just going to go through on how just to add objects on here. So first of all, what you're going to want to do is, well, you don't have to, but you can just use the standard objects that are in there, but there's not as many as you like. So if I go in P3D, go to Tools at the end, go to simdirector. You don't have to be in P3D to open up simdirector, you can just open it directly. And whilst that's opening up as well, we'll go to if you go to the Orbex page and go to support, download the get FTX Central, and then get the Orbex, the free Orbex libraries. It's about 2 gig, so there's quite a lot of information in there. And then you add the library in. If we go So you need to add the library in. I don't know why it does that. It just wants to spin around. It slews around. It's a bit annoying. It's got some limitations in simdirector. You'll need to add it in your scenery. So you need to go into your world and add the Orbex library into your scenery. Basically, any scenery that you add on, you can then open it up in simdirector to take those models out. So let's just scale this down to the size so you guys can see what it's doing. Just loading up all the objects in the catalog at the moment. So you can see here on the left hand side it's still uploaded, and you can see here all these highlights here are all objects that I've added on. Okay, so that's all bits of grass that I've put down. So as you're taxiing down the runway from an angle, and I might change this, I think it kind of looks from the side there. It's not just flat texture, it's got some nice grass texture to it. And you kind of you use the middle mouse button to scroll around. I'm not going to go through a complete how-to tutorial. You'll kind of figure out as you sort of go, you know, the usual sort of panning around a map and right button to spin up and down. So here we go, and found some objects, these nice little caravans here, little caravan park going on there. So none of this was here before, this was just all flat. Put these greenhouses in here because there's a little gardening centre at the back of the airstrip, and I've added on to the airfield, putting extra trees in, just kind of padding it out and filling it out. This catalogue's still updating. There's a lot in that catalogue. And I got a bit of a terrain issue here. There's some elevational data that I've got to sort out, just to flatten that out. It is a little bit buggy. It does sometimes crash. Is this going to crash? No, it doesn't. There we go. So you can see I've got 13,000 objects in that library now with that Orbex. Without the Orbex installed, it's about 7,000. So still quite a lot to choose from, but the Orbex scenery, the models that they've got in there are far better. There we go. Some of those there have not loaded up for some reason. Right. Okay, so what you want to make sure that you do is that you don't click mobile scenery. You only use scenery, and I'll go through that in a minute why that is. So if you select scenery as a filter, and now you can go through any of these subcategories and start sort of clicking through what you want to go through. There just seems to be so you kind of have to get to know where things are, and for some reason the preview window as default was not shown, so you have to click on that, click on the objects, and then you can start seeing. There you go. You can stick some cows in, stick a cow on the runway and run it over or something. I don't know, whatever you want to put on there. Unclick that because I've just clicked on a library there. But you can just type in, say, like grass. But it depends on what the original creator called the object. So they might have called like a building or something, but not called it building, or called it church or something like that. So there you go. There's all sorts of different types of grass there. Loads of different ones that you can choose from. All sort of 3D grass. Type in building. I'm fully expecting this to crash whilst I'm doing this. And there we go. You got all sorts of different types of buildings, and you can just scroll through those and find something that's I don't know, something that you want. Say that dock building there, and then you just double click on it. It will then drop into roughly where you're not quite the middle of the screen, but it depends on how if you pan that round that way, then it will line up there. So you can kind of sort of move it around to roughly where it's gonna land. And then you can grab this. This is a little bit quirky. So you can manipulate this round. You can click the translate as well, which you can use. Here we go. There's that slew thing again. It's annoying, that is. For some reason it does that right in the middle when you're editing. So click on that scenery, then it can snap it to ground, so you can have it going up in the air. But if you click translate, you've got these that. I find it annoying it doing that way, and half the time you end up sending it up in the air. So Control Z to undo. So it's your usual copy and paste keys and that you get in Windows. So I tend to move it around by clicking on it and moving it around that way. You can click on rotate and scale, but there's shortcut keys as well when it comes up with the little prompt there what the shortcut keys are, so I can scale that up and down. You can't scale it along the axes though. You can only scale it up and down. You can't say, like you can in some CAD programs, scale the width or the length of it or just the height. You can only do the whole thing up and down. Unless somebody knows another way of doing it, please let me know, because it'd be nice to just scale it in one direction. And then you can rotate, although the rotate's not always that easy to spot which way it's going, and invariably sometimes you end up rotating it like that, which looks a bit cockeyed. Just Control Z. And you can copy. The copy again is a little bit funky. You can hit the duplicate or do Control V, but it seems to copy on itself, and then when you go to move it, it selects both items. And the only way that I've found to see, if I go to click on that now, it'll move both those items. I can't zoom in close enough to get them apart. So the only way to move that now is if you click on that, move it a little bit out of the way, and then you can select the single one on its own and then move that alongside there. And there we go, we've got a couple of factory buildings in the middle of a field. Fantastic. So yeah, and I don't know, I haven't messed around with much of the other stuff. As I said, I've just gone in a fairly dumb fashion and just placed these. Now, okay, so you get the gist of adding stuff on. You can go and find it yourself, and whatever scenery objects you can find on the internet, or make your own up as well and add your own models in. This is just a nice visual way of just plopping them on there. I'm sure that you can use like S Builder and the other thing. I just found this nice and easy interface to be able to put stuff in, because you can see everything like you're almost in the flight simulator. You can pop back in the flight simulator, have a look at it, and then come back out again and manipulate these rounds. Right, so once you've done everything in that sort of area that you want to deal with, you save it as like a scenario. But if you export instead of just, so you can do the save as, but if you export, you can create, and it says on here save type BGL, but it doesn't save as a BGL, which is a bit annoying. It'll only save as a SXML. Okay, so even if you type in BGL, it still doesn't save as a BGL. It saves as an SXML. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Okay, so and then you need to when you go back into let's exit back out again. Save. No, we're not going to save. So when you go back into the flight simulator, those objects that you place will only appear when you load up that scenario that you saved. So this airplane at this airfield, those objects will appear. Okay. If you start another scenario where you start, I don't know, up in the air or in a different plane, and that those objects are not there, they disappear. The only way you get to keep those objects is that you've got to take that export file and create a BGL file. Okay, so and the BGL, let's just pause that because it's an annoying noise. Right, so if we get in here, right, so we created that SXML. There we go. If you go, you'll need to download the SKD files, and you can get those from the P3D website. They're just free. Where are they? Am I there? So in there we go. So we got old SDK. That's like the FSX or version 3. Now this is the version 4. Now you need the version 4 SDK for this to work, otherwise it doesn't compile it properly. It didn't seem to work anyway. So if you go to there, and you have to go into world, it's in world, terrain, is it terrain? No, scenery. There we go. So you got the BGL comp exe. I'm not sure which files you need. I think I just copied them all over to my prepared files. So when you save your scenery, they go into your into my documents or wherever you've kind of set it, but as default it's prepared version 4 files. So what I did is I copied the BGL comp, and then you literally just drag that on top of there, and it will create, let's see if it does it now, pop, there we go, and up the top there is the BGL file. Now all those things that we created in this SXML, there you go, it's so hard to say that, those are kind of like locked in this list, and then you just need to add that to your if you go into the world scenery library, you need to make sure I've put it in my prepared v4 add-ons. So I've added it to my list of scenery, which is my v4 add-ons, and then you have to create manually create a new folder and call it scenery, and then drop that BGL file into there, and then add that into a world library. So that is just all that BGL file is just a text list of all those items that you've placed. It gives it the coordinates, where they are, size, scale, grid reference, and where to find the objects. So if you don't if your machine totally bursts into flames and you need to reload everything up, if you don't have those orbex files or whatever files that you use to create these things, this won't work. Okay, so you need to make sure that you know what library files you're using when you're placing these objects to create this BGL, because that BGL is not the objects themselves, it's not the models or anything, it's just a list of text to say this is where to put them. This is Microsoft's infinite wisdom. I know, let's make a file structure system and we'll call them all BGL, although they're different things. So you've got BGLs which of your photo scenery, and you've got BGLs which are the mesh, and it's bloody balmy. So yeah, so if unless you give it a name to say what it's kind of doing, that BGL just doesn't help you. So you go to open up a BGL in some programs, it just doesn't seem to work. Anyway, so that's the easiest way I've found to add objects into your scenery. It's just for free. It's part of P3D. As I say, if you go into Tools, simdirector, you can plop them in there, export them out to that SXML file, and then by dragging and dropping that onto the BGL comp, which you need to get from the SDK, you can create your own BGL files and therefore have some amazing scenery. And just there we go, we're back to the start again, and just add on whatever you like, go nuts, make your local field look absolutely amazing. So there we go. Hopefully I've not missed anything out, and I've given you all the information that you'll need. I'm going to put a load of links in this description to help you out, because I've gone all around the Reeking in the last couple of weeks on how to sort of do this sort of thing, and I'm sure there are other programs out there, but I just found that this is the easiest idiot's guide to sort of putting your own scenery in and making it look a little bit nicer, and it seems to be pretty quick and easy on putting stuff in. So there we go. Hope this has been a help to somebody out there, and hopefully you can make your aerodrome fields and all the rest of it look absolutely sweet and exactly as you want them. Just a footnote as well, those Orbex libraries, you can't sell these BGL files and that as a commercial thing. Those Orbex libraries are freeware, but they are licensed as well, so they're only for your personal use. Okay, Hope this has been of help to you. If it has, give me a thumbs up please. If you want to see any more of my videos, subscribe to my channel, and I'll try and put as much helpful info out there as I possibly can for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye. If you want to just keep watching, and you can just watch my airfield as I plummet round it. This is going to take hours filling this lot in. Good fun though.